So it's the end of 2024, and as per usual, I'm a little bit pissed about the passage of time for some fucking reason. And it's time for us to make predictions and place our bets. Good lord, these lights are so bright. Anyway, I realized that a lot of the predictions that I have for the next year are kind of an extension of predictions from last year, to be honest, because there were a couple of predictions that I've made that did not come to be, that I think are still coming. So let's see which predictions I actually got right and which ones I got wrong. Focus on textures in general, especially with brands that are very popular right now. Brands like Versace, for example, I have a feeling that they're going to lean more into their unironed dress look. So not really what happened with Versace. The boxy silhouette that I was predicting, that kind of stems from the popularization of it by Prada, actually did happen even for Versace, but I just don't think that this one quite hit. I don't think that they experimented with textures as much, and we're talking about more mainstream brands right now, not emerging type of designers. Blue Marine is coming out with a new collection soon, okay? And they changed their creative director. Yeah, about that. Last year, I kind of predicted that they were gonna go back to their 2007 to 2009 type of aesthetic, maybe with a little bit of 2003 mixed into it. I even pulled up some of the images from those collections that had this silhouette. Turned out that Versace actually went for this aesthetic instead, at least the silhouette, not the actual aesthetic, the silhouette. I thought that the animal print was coming, especially the leopard print. On the leopard print front, I was very much correct. Even for Blue Marine. What the hell happened? Maybe some of you are fans of this new collection. However, I am just not. I was thinking that Blue Marine was going to cash in on the whole leopard print thing. I genuinely thought that they were gonna get a really good year out of this reignited interest in this pattern. They did go for this pattern, to be fair. A lot of pieces in this collection that feature leopard print. It's just not Blue Marine leopard. This part kind of fell through. Next thing is metallic is gonna stay absolutely everywhere. Yeah, I mean, I was correct on that one, and it wasn't that difficult of a prediction because we were already kind of in the silver-ish era for a long time, but I was thinking that it was gonna go beyond just, you know, jewelry and being obsessed with this melted silver jewelry. And it's kind of funny because now when I was just like on Instagram, I realized that a lot of the new pieces from Fancy Club collection from the new year is literally everything that I predicted last year to be in for this year. Do I fuck with it still? Yes. Because, well, I like a little bit of futurism. I'm always going to be into that. But honestly, the pink top slaps. Even though there's this feeling that I have that we're moving really, really fast in terms of fashion, in terms of trends, I think that we're actually a bit slower than I was anticipating it to be, because I kind of was predicting these trends to pass almost immediately in the beginning of the year, and they're kind of just like reaching their peak now, at least in the mainstream, right? So this is a distinction that we need to also mention here, is that there's a lot of trends that are going to be big, for example, with fashion industry people, and then there's going to be trends that are actually going to survive the whole trickling down into everyone's wearing it type of deal, you know? The silver, the metallic, yeah, it's here. It's gonna be here for a while. That we're gonna have a dramatic 2016 makeup comeback. Okay, so we didn't. We didn't have that because listen, this is going to be a theme of this video, and I really need to talk about this because this is one of the biggest points in this prediction for 2025 for me. It is the fact that we weirdly had a pivot to more conservative shit that is dressed up as more like clean, closer to nature type of living. I knew that it was coming because it was already there, you know. We already knew about the Naras and the Eve magazine bullshit and stuff like that. We already knew that it was happening. The problem is that I just didn't expect for the criticisms or for discussions, for discourse to be met with so much vitriol by people because of how, I don't think it's people not being educated. I don't think it's necessarily related to education. I don't know what it is. Probably media literacy, but we don't know for sure because it's really weird that this is a specific topic that people are just incapable of listening to criticism about. And I think that a part of it is always going to be this shield that we let people who cause harm but pretend to be sweet are allowed to have, like this armor that we're providing them. For example, ballerina farm girl, there's still gonna be people who are protecting them, even if they don't live like them or don't want to live like them or don't subscribe to some like Mormon shit or whatever. There's still gonna be a lot of people who protect them because they believe that if you're positive, at least in the videos or whatever the hell in your content, then you are somehow a good person or a good influence on society, which is a thing that's like not an equivalent at all. And we need to talk about it someday. I think that I should probably make a video talking about it, because fake nice and fake positivity and this forced positivity that is actually a tool to disengage and to isolate and to propagate the established systems of oppression that are just kind of, made to look like if you're calling them out, you're being negative and you're being somehow a bad person or somehow bringing negativity into people's lives or whatever the fuck. Like, we're gonna have to have this conversation, because this year really showed me, in terms of my predictions from last year, that we definitely had not a slowdown in consumption, not a rollback on materialism or something like that, but a lot of conservative values resurfacing and being repackaged. And that's the important part. They're being repackaged as something new or something that is fundamentally clean, right? And it's being force fed to everybody, especially young people. I feel like they're definitely getting coerced into a lot of real weird shit. And the fact that this trend didn't happen, the fact that the next trend, Instagram, like Instagram aesthetic and really long captions and stuff like that, didn't happen. The fact that the gray hair thing didn't happen, which I don't think that it should have happened necessarily, but I think that it definitely shows that the fact that we have so few people actually dyeing their hair gray now, it seems like people are just deathly afraid of aging or even appearing to be either their age or a bit older. It just seems to me that this commitment, to clean girl aesthetic or to this cottagecore shit, to very minimal makeup, not minimal in terms of amount of products, but in terms of like what it looks like, that it looks as if you're not wearing that much makeup kind of thing. The fact that we just keep on having this trend prolonged while at the same time there's so many issues with tradwife bullshit coming up, it's not a coincidence, The same way as there's a lot of pattern repeating going on, I don't know whether it's specifically the fact that internet is kind of a young people's game, that a lot of young people are spending a lot of time online. It seems really strange to me that I see older people kind of reacting to these patterns of behavior that are now sped up, that you can see in real time happening in front of you, that they're reacting to it as if it's like a new thing, which to them shouldn't be new at all. I think that it's all connected in terms of our culture and in terms of how it influences our tastes and stuff like that. I think that it's really important to look at what we like, what we see as desirable on a personal level, and compare it to the big picture and what is being promoted or what is culturally seen as desirable, and see whether you are actually making your own decisions when it comes to it. Because I think that a lot of these things, a lot of these trends, they're definitely influencing how we see things around us and how we eventually create media about it. So I think that all of those predictions, the makeup, the 2014 aesthetic that I thought was going to come back, I am really, really surprised that specifically the 2010 aesthetic of like Elena Gilbert type of thing came back. Like, I personally love that look, but at the same time, I also know that a part of it, at least today, and I'm sure it was the same back then, her look is revered or shown as like desirable because of her figure. It's just strange that even though it's very natural look oriented, it's at the same time still very much hyper consumerist. I also predicted that there's going to be a bit of a twee revival. I still think it's coming. I can feel it in the fucking air. I can feel the D&G 2009 Serena van der Woodsen type of look coming back. I can feel it in the air. You know what I mean? It's not twee, but it's like eclectic and a lot of shit combined that's kind of in between a club going girl and a boho style. And then right next to her, the whole Zoe Deschanel thing. I think they're kind of gonna come at the same time or around the same time, and I'm already feeling it in the air. That's what I think is gonna happen. I also said that I'm making a prediction that there's gonna be a lot more making fun of Gen Z content. I think that there's gonna be just a lot of new content that's gonna be making fun of black cat girlfriend, golden retriever boyfriend shit. Like, I feel like there's gonna be a whole wave of that this year. Yeah, I was right about that. Obviously, I mean, that's kind of an obvious point to make, but I think that it had to be said. I think that Gen Alpha are getting old enough to start making jokes. It's gonna get worse. I made a prediction that rom-coms are gonna come back, like a really good straight rom-com was going to come back, and I was wrong on that. As I've said last year, we got a few that were good, that were like queer rom-coms, but we haven't had any that weren't fucking cringe as hell, that were straight for years now. We didn't get any. However, at the end of the video, I predicted this. Logan Lerman rom-com announcement. Okay. Literally 2 weeks ago. I'm kind of psychic or whatever. It's crazy. I'm predicting a Dylan O'Brien rom-com next. Listen. I know that I just watched Teen Wolf, so I'm kind of biased here, but I genuinely think that there's gonna be a revival over a lot of shows of that era, especially because the thing is, I think the Vampire Diaries definitely had a big year this year. It feels like a lot of people who are really young are getting into that show, like started to watch it out of the blue, and I'm like, honestly, like, good for you, fun, I guess. Also, like, I understand why. I think that there's definitely gonna be revival in the next 3 years of all the shows that were coming out during that time, mostly because it was probably the last big era of TV shows that lasted for fucking seasons, that were created for teenagers, for a generation to kind of grow up with, kind of like, you know, like Gossip Girl, whatever. And I think that they're all kind of getting pretty good revival already in the past 2 to 3 years. I feel like because of the lockdown, a lot of people started watching those old shows, and a lot of younger people are getting into it and starting to post on TikTok about like their analysis of the characters or what they liked or disliked. It's really interesting to see that these shows that had this impact because of their longevity and because of the structure of television back then, how it was aired, right? That it was aired weekly, all the discussions about those shows, all the interviews, the lore and everything. I feel like this era of television is going to be very influential for younger people in the next few years. By younger, I mean like people who are literally teens. If you're a producer or a writer, get on that shit and try to get Dylan O'Brien, because I feel like he's going to have another massive year soon. Even if he doesn't go into any projects that are like big right now, I can guarantee that within a year, the next year, he's gonna have like a really big revival on TikTok for no fucking reason, like out of nowhere. So if you're a producer, jump on it quickly. Same as with Logan Lerman. I hope that this movie is good, because a lot of people are gonna waste their time watching it. How old is he? He's probably in his 30s, right? How 30 are we talking here? I predicted really short shorts, and I mean like, yeah, fucking obviously, and we talked about that, so got that one right. A medieval core with a punk twist comeback a la 97 Betsy Johnson. I absolutely love that collection. Yeah, I was absolutely fucking right. I'm psychic, absolutely, maybe a genius. Mayhaps. A lot of the predictions that I made last year realistically are still gonna happen this year too, especially the twee thing with the boho thing that's kind of a little bit twisted into the clubbing girl aesthetic when it comes to very popular fashion. So things that are going to be sold everywhere and things that are going to be worn by everyone. This type of cut of a dress, you're going to see a lot, and I mean a lot, of drop-waisted stuff. Not necessarily just miniskirts, but miniskirts with a like pleating kind of on the bottom is going to be in for sure. Like everyone's going to be wearing it. Again, a hit to my wardrobe, because that's the type of skirt that I fucking love. When it comes to makeup, I think that the classic wing is gonna reintroduce itself. I mean, like, a lot of people are wearing it anyway, but I think that there's gonna be a couple of looks that are gonna go viral that specifically employ that dark eye makeup with a really strong eyeliner. But that's maybe like at the end of the year. A couple of medieval styles are going to come back as well still. Like, we're not done with it at all. I think that it's still going to reintroduce itself a couple of times. And there's definitely going to be a revival of I don't remember the exact name of this Chinese dress, but it's like this type of thing. And I know that it's culturally insensitive. I just feel like it's coming. I don't know how to explain this. I just feel like something like this, or a variation of a traditional piece of clothing from Asia, is going to get really popular, and people are going to be like making think pieces about it and whatever, because it is kind of weird. But I'm feeling it coming back. Like, I really, really think there's going to be a lot of white girls wearing something like this out of nowhere. And if I'm wrong, great. If we get to next year and I talk about it and I was fucking wrong, what will I do? I'll do a shot. I don't really drink, so that would be like a sacrifice for me, because I don't drink. Not like I don't drink, but I don't really, you know what I mean? There's definitely gonna be an oversaturation of the Yelizaveta Parodina type of style of photography. Like, people are already stealing it way too fucking much. Everyone I know is trying to be Yelizaveta Parodina, and it's getting on my nerves, because it's definitely going to be sad to see everyone just kind of soullessly copying it. And I'm already seeing it, but I'm just saying that this year, I'm afraid it's going to get oversaturated. I'm predicting that there's going to be a lot more celebrity disillusionment, and that's going to influence the way that we kind of see fashion. I think that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to try and intellectualize their way out of this fatigue, who are going to be talking about fashion in a very kind of highly intellectual way, while at the same time participating in a lot of ridiculous concepts that are created by those designers, like big brands and whatever, and kind of trying to make them sound or look like they're more than what they actually are. I don't know. I think that there's something coming when it comes to the way that we're going to be approaching purchasing this year. I think that people are on edge more than just one appropriation thing is going to happen this year, just because whenever there's conflict going on that's highly televised, or whenever there's a lot of misinformation about a place, or whenever our media is trying to make us believe a particular thing about a country or a place or whatever, we see a resurgence or a introduction of some of the pieces from that place, like some of the traditional clothing or some of the things that are popular there, being kind of conceptual artified and reintroduced to us as like a fashion thing. So I'm thinking that maybe we're gonna see more of those silhouettes, and more of silhouettes specifically from countries and places that we hear about a lot recently, not because they're gonna be authentically introduced to us, but because they're gonna be kind of co-opted, you know, by big designers and big corporations for the sake of this faux multiculturalism kind of thing. It's not even gonna be like authentic. I think that there's something like that coming for sure. I want to hear what you guys are predicting, and not only when it comes to fashion. I just want to hear what your predictions are in terms of popular culture as well, because we're definitely at a breaking point. All in all, a lot of my predictions from last year still stand today. I'm still expecting for them to to happen soon. And yeah, Dylan O'Brien rom-com is coming for sure. The Logan Lerman one, I don't even know if it's gonna be good. He just announced it like 2 weeks ago. Is it supposed to have a lot of promotion out already? I feel like it should be promoted already. No? Weird. Anyway, more polka dots. And the last thing that I want to say is also that I don't want this to happen, but I have a feeling that it might, that we're gonna get more and more of that old school fashion in, because of this uptick in weirdos on the right side of the political spectrum, you know. So I don't know, we'll see. Hope you're having a good day. I am moving right now, I'm packing and stuff like that, so it's kind of a mess. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.